And we are live. Hello, happy Friday. Welcome to everyone who's joining in for this LaCUE Cares event. My name is Heather White.
My name is Amanda Jones.
And today we're going to be talking about how you can design your own virtual tour and take your kiddos anywhere that they have never been. And there I am echoing. I always echo. Love that. All right, so Amanda, I'm going to go ahead and add your presentation to the stream so we can get started with this. There we go.
All right, designing virtual tours. I love the GIF that you put in there, or as Nikki says, GIF.
Eric Schenninger said GIF earlier today, and because I respect him so much, I wasn't about to type in the comments, no, sir, it's GIF. And then I get a text message from Nikki going, you heard it. He said GIF. And I was like, hush, Nikki.
That's funny. Well, like I said, my name is Amanda Jones. I am a teacher librarian at Live Oak Middle School in Watson, Louisiana. I am the 2020 Louisiana School Librarian of the Year and the 2019 LaCUE State Middle School Teacher of the Year. I'm a proud Wakelet ambassador, and I put my Twitter handle on there in case you ever want to get in touch with me.
And my name is Heather White. I am an educational technology facilitator with Livingston Parish Schools. That is in South Louisiana, same parish that Amanda is in. I am a Google certified trainer, educator, an ISTE certified educator, and also a proud Wakelet ambassador. And if you wish to connect with me on the Twitter, you can find me at Tall Techie Teach. Okay, so we're going to start off by talking about the different types of trips that you can take your kiddos or yourself, if you want to leave the house without leaving the house, take yourself on. So what you can do is you can post links to trips and articles for students to sort of kind of navigate and travel on their own. Amanda, do you want to click on that first link for me?
There we go.
Thank you. I forgot to open those up.
I did too, and I'm sorry about that.
No. See, this is what we're doing. So this is a national park one. So the National Park Foundation has tons of virtual trips. You can just give this to the children and say, all right, dig around, tell me what you find, put together some sort of presentation. It can be whatever you want it to be, a video, a podcast, something written, something colored. Maybe you want to do a Google slide presentation so that you can throw in a lot of student choice here in how your kids are going to talk about the knowledge that they've demonstrated. You can also set up a menu. And so what this does, this is just one example here where the kids can pick and choose. They can do one from each group. You can have maybe a requirement that they just complete 2 different activities, one from, a different topic. They can do as many as they want to, but by giving them a little bit of choice, they can find the just right fit for them.
And I wanted to say, Heather and I did not create that menu. So further on in the slide deck, we actually have the librarian. There's a link in the librarian's name and her information for the librarian who set up that menu choice board.
And then the last thing you can do is you can stream live, kind of like we're doing right now, acting like the host. You can have students post questions and comments. And, as you're going through, you can answer those things and, take them different places. You can have them sort of, dictate where you're going to go. Maybe you choose your own adventure thing. Okay, so here we are. Where do we want to go next? Do we want to go to this city or this city, this castle or that castle, the Amazon or the Nile? Where do we want to go? And we are going to talk about how you can do that live streaming and the best ways to set up a hosting station.
Okay, so back in March when school buildings closed, I wanted a way to stay relevant with my students as a school librarian while we were distance learning. And I also wanted to provide some sort of escapism for the kids while we were distance learning. So I started hosting my own virtual tours, and I would host a weekly virtual tour via Zoom. Now that we are back in school, and my school is 100% in person right now, I have coordinated with the social studies and science teachers, and I host virtual trips through those classes. So I'm going to show you the example. This is my Journey with Jones. That's the name of my series, Journey with Jones. And I do have a website where I have stored all of my trips. I think I've gone on like 24 trips maybe. I have one coming up next week with 5th grade social studies, Journey with Jones, the Colonies. Now, I am not streaming that one live. It will be pre-recorded because the different teachers are at different points in their curriculum right now. But I also, I post all my past trips on the website, so you can go in, you can watch the video, you can click on the presentation. But let me show you an example of what these trips look like. So this is, and I apologize for my slow internet right now. So what I do is I create a slide deck using Google Slides, and I display the first screen, and whether I am streaming live or video, I always have a title page. Then we go straight into talking about the country or the location that we're traveling to. I show them where it's located in the world. I then click on, I usually have a Google Earth project set up, and we go from location to location, and we look at it in 3D and Street View. Then I talk about different areas of different attractions and locations where we are doing our trip. I apologize for that bell. I'm actually on school campus right now. So I go through, and as I'm talking about each example, I will click on a link and I will show a 360-degree panorama or a virtual tour of the area that we are talking about. When I stream live, I pepper in little trivia. What is Miss Jones's favorite movie? Things like that. So I go through and I do the whole slide deck. I end up showing them resources, and then I tell them about my next trips. So that is an example of the slide deck that I use, and I'll stream live and we go through it together, and the kids can ask questions in the comments as we travel when I am hosting live. If they're in the classroom, they have a Google form they can fill out, and they can send me a request for more information on any of the locations that we are traveling to. Now, getting ready, I always like to make a promotional display, and I post a very prominent library social media page, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So I like to advertise to our community where we're going and let the parents and the students know where our next trip will be. I like to use Canva. I've included a link right here. If you are an educator, you can sign up for a free Educator Pro account on Canva, and you can create your own promos for free, create your own website. And I'm a little extra, so I like to wear hats and put a green screen in the background whenever I have my virtual trips.
Okay, so streaming live. So when you are doing it, there's a couple of different ways that you can do your stream. Okay, right now what we're using is a program called Streamyard, and they do have a free option, and you can connect your Facebook, you can connect your YouTube, and then when you're in it, you're in a little what's called the studio, and then it's actually streaming to the
Sorry.
Hey, cool. We all get it. It's fine. Although it's making me feel like I'm late to something. I'm going to be completely honest about that. I'm feeling like, I'm running late. But anyway, so you can, stream to different locations. You can put up the little banners and those sorts of things. If the kids ask questions or whatever, you can display those sorts of things. Now, you can also use Zoom. So with Zoom, you can do it where you stream to either your YouTube or your Facebook as well. And typically we're like the only ones that are in that Zoom. So for the students to interact with us, we're asking them, or even, if it's when we are not in school. So it's the community, it's the parents, and maybe it's other librarians. We've had other librarians from around the world actually join in on some of our stuff just to kind of see and get some ideas as far as what we're doing so that they could do those things as well. So they join in and they can ask questions, sort of like Stacy just did. Streamyard. Yes, Stacy. Stacy, it is all one word, streamyard.com. And like I said, they do have a free program. They do have paid versions as well. If you want to be able to do your own sort of branding, like you see the little LaCUE thing, you do need a paid version. And if you are going to go that route and you are in education, make sure you contact them first because they give you an educator discount. Okay, so just FYI, you don't have to pay full price for something like that. But when you're doing it, always kind of give yourself a test run. The first time you do it does not need to be the real time that you do it. So give it a test run, become familiar with your platform, kind of figure out your setup. In the next slide, we will show a good setup option for you. Right now, I've kind of got 3 screens going. I've got my laptop and then 2 external monitors. So I'm able to kind of see what's going on in the live stream on YouTube. I can see my presentation on another one, but the only bad thing is, if you're showing your camera, you can kind of see your head going like that. And if that doesn't bother you, no big deal. You can take away your picture from the stream. In fact, what I'm going to do right now is in Streamyard right here, if I can get my mouse to the right monitor, there we go. Notice if you don't like to have your face in it, you can kind of just go around and do it like that. But if you're doing it for your students, keep in mind that they do like seeing your face and they do like hearing your voice. They do want to connect with you. That's what they're used to, so they want that personalized connection with them. But Amanda, go ahead and talk about all of the little different things that you do when you have your setup like this.
So I usually have a setup, and I started out with Zoom, and now I mostly use Streamyard. And I use Streamyard because it's amazing, but also it houses the link on a YouTube channel forever. So you don't have to record in Zoom and then go upload later. But when I present, usually I'll have either Facebook or YouTube up here to monitor the comments. Then I have my presentation, the laptop I'm using for my presentation. And then I have either my phone or an iPad down at the bottom for my notes, because I don't like to put a lot of facts and statistics all across the screen while I'm hosting a live trip. I like to keep those just where I can see them and just talk to the kids about it so they don't focus on all that.
Now, you also do not have to go through the trouble of creating your own slide decks. Now, you have to put the content in there unless you use one of the ones we've created, which you're welcome to do, and we will share where you can find those later. But there are lots of places that give you cute templates. You have Slides Mania, Slides Carnival, Slides Go, Presentation Go. I am rather partial to Slides Mania. I find it very educator driven. And by that, I mean really cutesy, elementary teachers and even older teachers too, but we like to cute things up. So if it's got a cute background on it, the presentation you see here actually came from one of these 4 places. All you have to do is go and put in the content that you want. It does a color schematic for you. It does fonts for you. So if you find that you have difficulty kind of matching those things and going, gee, I don't know what's going to look good, these people do all the legwork for you. And all you have to do is throw in the ideas that you want to share.
For continuity purposes, I use the same exact slide deck, the same exact template. And I think I got mine from Slides Mania maybe every single time, just so it's familiar to the students. But I mean, you don't have to be like me. But I just find that I just copy a presentation, and I just go in and change the location and the pictures, and everything's set. So we are now going to showcase some of our favorite tools that we use when creating virtual trips. So the very first one I want to talk about is Google Earth. And let's hope it loads. So basically in Google Earth, over here on the side, you can create your own little project. So I go in ahead of time and I create all the locations that I want to travel to. And I start out at my school. So I show the students where we're at, where our school is at. They think it's pretty cool to see Live Oak Middle School and Google Earth. I start there, and then I zoom out to Louisiana, North America, Italy, and you can do all this in presentation mode. I'm kind of keeping it right here the way it is right now so I can show you. But just to show you an example of something. So this is when we toured Venice and Rome, I believe. So as we zoom to each location, I go back and forth between my slide deck, in which I'm giving my presentation and have links to 360 and all of that. I go back and forth to Google Earth so that they can see where in the world it is located. And the cool thing about Google Earth is that you can use the little Street View man, and you can go down there. I like to show it in 3D and let it spin. So while it's spinning, and I think it's the coolest thing. So while it's spinning, I'll give facts about, this is the Piazza San Marco. So I would give facts about the Piazza San Marco. I would say, here's the Basilica, and I would go through everything over here. Then I would click on the little Street View person. And I always, what, Heather?
It's the Peg Man. That's what he looks like.
Peg Man. Well, look, pro tip for using Pegman, always check out where you're going to click on for Street View first, because one time I clicked and it was just not the best picture. And I'm going to leave it at that. But see, right now, look, this is an older one. It's under construction, so I would go back and pick a better one. But you can go and you can show in Street View Piazza San Marco. So that would be an example of Google Earth. And then over here on the side, you have all your projects that you can do, and you can save them, and you can have them forever. And talk a little bit about that some more in a minute when we talk about Google Earth Pro. So 360cities.net is my absolute favorite site to use. And oh, it's working now, Heather. Okay, the site wasn't working for me earlier. So this is a free site where amateur photographers and professional photographers have gone in and uploaded 360-degree panoramas. And sometimes you can find videos. It's very rare that I don't find the attraction or location that I'm looking for when I use this website. The really cool, oh, Bonnie, I see your comment. Is this closing down in the summer? We're going to talk about closing down, all that stuff. We're going to mention that. But this 360degreecities.net, the cool thing about this is if you have VR headsets, you can watch it in VR. There's a VR link and you can click on that. When I'm showing the students on our live virtual tours, I make it large and I zoom around and I talk about, so that when we were looking at the Coliseum, I was talking about there used to be a floor here. This is where they had animals and gladiators. And we talked about the seating and I showed them all that. But I provide the students with my presentation link so they can go back and they can tour it on their own. So if they do have VR goggles themselves, they can go back and look at that. Another site I like to use is 360 Stories. It's not my absolute favorite. This is also completely free. It says pricing up here. It's free. Don't worry about that. You can type in, it's more limited as to what you can find on here. But for instance, say you want to go to the Rijksmuseum in Amsterdam. It would show you what it would cost if you bought a ticket, or you can just click on it and you can go there yourself. And so they already have a tour set up. It usually has, it usually talks about it. It'll give some information. And you can scroll all around here and you can look around. There's, depending on where you go, sometimes they'll have stories, sometimes they'll have experiences up next. It's a little harder and more confusing to use, so I don't use it all the time, but if I'm in a pinch for trying to find a virtual tour, I'll use 360 degree stories. Airpano is by far, so 360 Cities is like my favorite. Airpano is my second favorite. The only reason it's my second favorite is because it is also doesn't have everything you're looking for. But this is Airpano. It's also free. They have 360 degree photos and 360 degree videos. And these are just some examples of some of the trips that you can take. And just to show you an example, we went to Petra one time. And so, let's zoom in there. So Petra, when I was showing the students this, there's articles down here. So you can go in and you can talk about it. And there's a photo gallery. And it shows all the other videos. But I'm going to turn the sound off because it does have sound. But the thing I love about Airpano is that there are little question marks. And you can click on these and it'll tell you what you're looking at. You can click on the book icon. It'll take you to the different articles about what you're looking at. And you can, let me show you, you can zoom in, you can zoom out, you can look up, you can look down, all around. And then on the side are other pictures of the same attraction that you're looking at. So we could click on inside the treasury and we could go in here and we could talk about that, zoom all around. Airpano is fantastic. It doesn't have everything though, but usually what it does have is pretty amazing.
I feel like I just did the hokey pokey in Petra.
I know, turn yourself around. I go so quick because I want to fit it all in, Heather.
We have plenty of time and you killed the music and I was dancing and I mean, like, come on.
I'm so sorry. I don't want Dr. Seneca to be like, why is she taking so long?
We have until 1:50. It's only 1:20. Calm down.
Okay. I'm just so, I love trying to fit. I want to make sure I fit.
I know, but that's probably one of my favorite ones that you've done. And anyway, I enjoy that one, but it's okay.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Airpano, I love Airpano. Google Images. Everybody knows what Google Images is, but I did want to talk to you about that because when you're using images for presentations, when you do your searches, you want to make sure you are going to tools and that you are looking at the usage rights. And you want to make sure you're using pictures in your presentations and your videos and things that have Creative Commons license that are free into the public and that you can, they don't mind you resharing, and you want to make sure you give them credit. So for instance, at the beginning of my slideshow, when I host, it says there's a text at the bottom of the one of the first slides that says all images come from Wiki Commons unless otherwise noted, because I do want to give credit from where I got those images. All right, so moving on to Google Arts and Culture. Google Arts and Culture is amazing. And the cool thing about Google Arts and Culture is I found you can click on, I'm not going to click it right now, but you can click nearby and you can find things that are near you. And I didn't realize like our public library is on here, so I could go and read about our public library. But what I'm showing you right now is the Van Gogh Museum in Amsterdam. There's the little peg man that tells you that there's Street View technology used in this. So it will go and it will tell you a little bit information about Van Gogh Museum. It offers other links, and there are different stories and then different pictures in the collection. And then let me show you, because what they use, very high resolution pictures in Google Arts and Culture. And so you can click on this and you can get pretty close and look at brush strokes. Like,
think about the possibilities for, art teachers. I always feel like there's, Bonnie, I was watching her session earlier. She's in here. Look at you. You're getting badges in Google Arts. See that? Okay. Amanda is like a badge queen. Loves the badges. I cannot.
Apparently I'm getting badges like while I'm giving presentations. I don't even know it.
That's so funny. But if you think about the different, eras of the arts and the different types of art that they do, the Impressionists, then you've got, the different acrylics, and you've got watercolors, and, all of those different things. And you can zoom in on that. Think about how you could use that in a classroom. Think about how, you could take a little snippet of that, use that in some sort of an assessment if the student's having to, identify what type of, I don't know how they do this, but the type of brush or the type of paint or the type of, method that they use for the different paintings that they're doing. I mean, so there's lots of different options in this Google Arts and Culture as far as hitting some of those subjects that you don't necessarily hear a whole lot about outside of your core subjects.
And I wanted to mention that Google Arts and Culture, like I use it on my laptop for virtual tours, but I also have shown the students how to use it, the app, because you can view, like this shows you right here that you can click on this and view it in augmented reality. So you could look at it, hold your phone up if you're on the phone using the app, and you can put it in your living room or your bedroom or your classroom or whatever. And then it also shows you that this is available in Street View. So you can click on that and you can actually go and look and see where it is hung in the Van Gogh Museum on the wall. Oh my gosh, I got another badge, Heather.
Mama is so proud of you.
But this whole museum is uses Street View technology, and you can tour around in there, and you can click on them and they'll give you information. And because it uses the Street View technology, you can click right here, you can go to the next room, and you can take an actual virtual tour inside the Van Gogh Museum.
You get a lot closer in a virtual tour than you can a real tour.
Yeah.
And there are people standing in front of you.
And Google Arts and Culture, Heather was talking about the different options. There's so many things you can do in here. You can explore, look at what's nearby. And then they have tons of different augmented reality for science teachers. There's a cool one where you can take a picture and it creates your own self-portrait inspired by iconic artists. And it's, if you use the app, you can use it in virtual reality with VR goggles. So Google Earth Pro, I just wanted to mention, so we're going to talk about Tour Builder and Google Expeditions are ending on June 30th or June 1st, 2021. And you will no longer be able to use Tour Builder and Google Expeditions. But they're merging all of that technology into Google Earth Pro. So you'll be able to use Google Earth Pro on the web, on a mobile, and on your desktop, and you can go ahead and download some different things. It's pretty much the same as regular Google Earth, but just like with a little extra added kick. You'll be able to add maps and pictures, and I'm not going to launch it because it'll really, really slow down my computer. But you can add pictures and maps, and so say you're talking about Silk Road, and you can show all of the paths people took to import and export and travel. And you could put close-up maps and pictures, and you could go on a virtual tour using just Google Earth and exporting these other 360-degree links from like 360cities.net or whatever into this whole entire Google Earth project. So it's something to think about. I haven't really gotten around to playing with it, so I'm probably not the best to be talking about that.
That's the one that you can overlay the historic maps on.
Yes.
So think about, you're talking about Lewis and Clark expeditions, or you're talking about when the United States was first founded. So we're looking at all of those maps that were created when we have the different waves of people coming and settling and how that westward expansion goes. And they had cartographers that made those maps, and they are in libraries somewhere. Well, they've taken those, and you can actually overlay those onto the maps that are current and see what the differences are, sort of, like where settlements were, how cities have blown up, or not necessarily blown up, but, grown, gotten bigger. Anyway, that was like a Meet the Fockers moment. You can't say bomb on a plane. Anyway, blown up. My brain just squirreled, y'all. I'm so sorry. But anywho, so that is actually a really cool one too. And if you get the presentation and you click on the little tiny play button that you saw there by it, you want to go back one slide? Right. Well, I'm trying to point. Look, I'm pointing with my mouse like you can actually see it. It will take you to a link on YouTube where Richard Byrne talks about how to actually use this. So he had shared this out on Twitter a few months ago, and I remember seeing it, and my mind was just blown. Like, I could not believe. And I was like, Amanda, you've got to see this. So it is a little bit of a different interface. Go ahead and take a look at it when you have some time. History teachers is great. But other than that,
Bonnie, I saw your comments. At first, I was like really, really mad about Tour Builder and Expeditions, but then I started kind of looking at what all Google Earth Pro is gonna be able to do, and it seems like a lot of that might be more streamlined. Now, we'll have to see. And with them also getting rid of Google Expeditions, I'm going to talk about a lot of those trips are done using Google Poly, which will still be there. I don't know about the Tour Builder. You'll have to probably like transfer your tour. Heather, you sent me a link the other day.
I can't remember what it said, but I did send you a link about what it said. You keep talking. I'll look it up.
Okay. And hopefully Heather will find it and she can drop it in the chat about how you can transfer your Tour Builder over into the new, whatever it is, Google Earth Pro. So Google Treks is something I also like to use. They have all of these different treks or tours. Now, the thing about this is that they don't have a lot so far, but I'm hoping that they'll keep adding, and I have to cough, excuse me. So sorry. But what they do have is pretty amazing. So, for example, what's a good one? Where is Mount Everest? Am I not? Well, I can't read that quickly.
I thought it was the base camp, Everest Base Camp, Nepal.
There it is. I'm sorry. I didn't even see it. It was right there. So like, say you want to use, so when we went to Nepal, we touched on Everest. And so I used Google Trek and I talked about this. And I actually learned this from Bonnie. I learned about Trek from Bonnie, like way back in like March or April. But you can go to the like Everest Base Camp. You can explore it in Street View. You can read about it. You can look at maps. There's so much information you can explore in Panorama. Here they have a panorama right here. You can look all around. You can zoom, look around in Street View. So a lot of the places, like I said, there's not that many, but what they do have is pretty interesting. I will say when I was, I believe it was Tanzania, we were touring somewhere in Africa, and might have been Tanzania. They had there it is, Gombe National. So we were talking about chimpanzee, Jane Goodall. So we were talking about chimpanzees in Tanzania and Jane Goodall, and I couldn't find a good virtual tour. And I was lucky that they had this on Google Trek, and we were able to go through, and it actually uses Google Maps, Google Earth. There's all sorts of information, and you can tour down, and there's different things you can click on. There's like videos. All these are different videos you can click on. And there's just so much information. So each trek is different, and they might not have the same resources that maybe another trek has. But I really, really like using Google Treks. And I hope that they go in and add some more locations. Oh, Bonnie just said Google Poly is ending too. So thanks, Bonnie, for breaking my heart in the middle of this presentation. So they are ending Google Poly too. So like we said, Google Tour Builder is ending. Just briefly, I'll touch on that because you have until June 1st, 2021. So you can go through here and you can look at the gallery and you can create a tour and you can, but if you're new to this, I would say don't even get started on Tour Builder because they're phasing that out. Google Translate, I've skipped Wakelet. So Wakelet, a lot of people don't think about using Wakelet as a virtual tour resource, but Heather and I have used it. We have combined all of our favorite articles, our webinars, and different tools and things. In this Wakelet. Wakelet is my favorite thing, besides 360cities.net. But I keep saying everything's a favorite. Apparently, I love everything. But Wakelet,
you don't discriminate.
I don't discriminate. But what you could do using Wakelet is, if you didn't want to host your own live tours, is that you could set up a Wakelet, and you could say, okay, this category is 360 videos. Then you could have the STEM section, then the book suggestions, and you could have a whole tour set up in Wakelet, and then just share it out in Google Classroom that way if you didn't want to host it live or record yourself making a video. So that's another option. I did want to mention Google Translate. So as you can tell, I have a horrible Louisiana accent, which most of you also probably have because this is LaCUE and we're in Louisiana. But when I present, I do have a lot of people all across the world that watch this. And I wanted to, especially when I was hosting a tour of Japan, and a teacher, a librarian from Japan told me that she was going to watch. And so I wanted to make sure I pronounced it correctly. So I'll go to Google Translate and I'll go in and I'll type the location, and I'll listen to Google Translate over and over till and then on my notes, I spell it out phonetically so that it will help me pronounce. And I probably still butcher some names, but Google Translate can be a really good tool to use when you're hosting your virtual trips. Google searches, you never know what you're going to find on your own. We were touring Nepal, and I did a Google search of Nepal and virtual tours, and Nepal has its own like virtual tour website. So you never know, just do a search and Google Poly. So Bonnie burst in my bubble and told me Google Poly is ending. So let's not even go into that too much. I mean, you can use it till, oh, look, there it says shutting down June 30th forever. So you have a year, you can go in, you can, say you're touring, you can maybe find some stuff for the next year or two, but then bye-bye Google Poly. Now, 360-degree videos, you can find a lot of videos, 360. National Geographic is probably the most well put together.
You've got to get an ad blocker on your YouTube, sister.
I know. I had one. I don't know what happened to it. I got to check my extensions. I had one. I don't know what that's about.
Okay, I finally found what I had sent you, and I'm about to post it in the chat. It's coming from LPS Tech. So it talks about how it's going to be shut down, and there's a resource about how to, I think, go and do everything in Google Earth projects. Anyway, there's also a webinar on how to migrate tours on the 9th. What is that, next Thursday maybe?
Yes, I have it on my calendar to watch.
Hold up. Let me get my mouse where it needs to be. And I will copy that registration link for anyone who is interested in actually figuring out how to go ahead and do that migration. Hopefully it'll all go over that way. Boom. There you go. Okay.
So those are in the chat, and I would look into that. I know I've already registered for that webinar. What you're looking at on the screen, can you hear my? Can you hear that, Heather?
Yes.
There's no branches down low, and you.
So with National Geographic, they narrate, and they'll narrate it, and you can tour all around. Like you can move the camera, so you can look around while they're narrating, which is the cool thing about 360-degree videos. And National Geographic have a ton, but you can find a lot of amateur ones on there. So Those are our favorite tools we like to use. Now I'm going to turn it over to Heather.
Oh, it's my turn? Okay. Hold up. Let me make sure I'm in the right spots. Okay. Again with my mouse. All right, I'm going to remove you and I'm going to add me. Okay, so here are some areas with examples from other schools. And this is what we were talking about earlier with the choice boards and other things. These are just some links to a few different ones that we thought had some really great ways of doing it. The first one I'm going to talk about is this virtual spring break one. So that's the same little choice board. So over spring break, every day she posted something new. So on Monday, we're doing Disney Day. Who wants to go on a ride? There's a video that shows you around. Here are some STEM activities, some craft activities. Here's a read aloud. It's a story podcast. So, it's things that the students can do while they're at home on spring break if they can't really go anywhere. Not everybody gets to take spring break trips. So this is something that if you can at least provide a device and make sure that a student has some kind of internet connection, then they can at least go somewhere virtually. Wanderlust Wednesday is probably one of our favorites. It's done by Martha Bongiorno. Did I say that right?
Martha Bongiorno.
There we go. But she has built an entire site. And what she does is she takes you places. So wander to Paris and she shows you the sites here and the different places that you can go. And again, she offers some ideas on makerspace and STEM activities. But what I really like about it is travel with a book. And she suggest books for different age groups. So for your younger readers, here are some books that, take place in Paris. And for your older readers, here are some books that take place in Paris. And plug, if you've never read Anna and the French Kiss, it's so good. There's a trilogy. Okay. And it's like, they all kind of connect or whatever, but I just bought them for my oldest. She's 15. And I'm like, you've got to read these so we can kind of fangirl together. They are just wonderful. And then another one, Virtual Vacation. This is Kilmer Middle School Library. And they've got each day of the week is a different activity. So Monday is your Maker Monday. Tuesday is your Travel Tuesday. So if we click on Travel Tuesday, it will take us to different virtual vacations that we can go to. Again, look, here's Disney. Here's your Eiffel Tower. Let's go to Mexico. And when you click on Mexico, it'll tell you different things that you can do. Again, most of these are going to have sites. They're going to have book activities. They're going to have STEAM activities. So lots of different extension activities that are there. And they're out there. So, again, you can kind of take and pull and put one together where you pull resources from different ones. Again, just kind of give a shout out to the original creator for at least sharing that great idea with you. All right. Another way to do it is go check out Amanda's website and all of her Wakelets. Guys, she has built so many. We had nothing better to do in the spring, and we knew that we wanted to reach out and connect with students. What do? We build stuff. We do things online. We share it out, so that they're still learning. We wanted to make sure that they were still learning. They were still engaging their brains. They were still staying active. Okay. And her website, if you click on that, it takes you there, and she's shown it to you already. But guys, there's so much. Okay. So many things, all of the ones that she creates, she does drop into her Wakelets, and she also shares her notes so that you can actually have that knowledge as well. She's done a lot of legwork. If you're deciding that you want to try this out and you're not quite sure where to go, start off with one of hers, help you get your feet wet there. And when you start feeling all, I am so fancy and I can do this, build your own trip. And what we've done here is I've created a planning guide, trip ideas by subject, and a trip template, and even linked it to ISTE standards for you. So if you take a look at the virtual field trip template, again, I didn't create this. If you notice, I got it from Slides Mania. Perfection. She even has a slide in there that tells you how you can go in and you can change the, hang on, let me go back. How you can change this little stuff right here to match where you're going to go. It was amazing. I was like, oh, aren't you brilliant? So again, kind of goes through right here, put a picture of yourself, describe what's happening, give some background information. So I sort of went ahead and kind of cued you in as far as what to say and how to go and do it. All right. And then again, here's where it tells you how to change colors and things of that nature if you want to change it up just a little bit. And then badges. Did you know that you can actually find like the stamps that you get when you go to different countries? They have them on Google Images. Passport stamps, search it. And you can have the kids have a little passport, and every trip that you take, you can give them a stamp to put in their passport. How fun is that? You know, they have a virtual passport and they're like, look, we have been to Madagascar and we have been to China and we have been to Paris, and they've got all of these little stamps to prove it. Even if you go on those field trips to the national parks have the stamps too that you can put into your little travel badge. You know, so let's say that you're going to do a whole national park series and you're going to let the kids choose and say, okay, at the end, I want you to have visited 5, you know, collect your stamps so I know which ones you went to. And then again, you can give them a project and give them any way that they wish to go ahead and prove that knowledge. You know, let them do iMovie if they have access to an iPhone. They love doing that kind of stuff. All right, so then the next few pages, it's just saying, okay, so go to a location, give bulleted information points, and then I just put the links to the different places that we've talked about so that you can just quickly, easily get there and then sort of drag and drop them into your trip. Right here are some virtual field trips and locations by subject, and it's taken a minute to load, but there are clickable links in it. Once you get there, I don't know why it's not one to load for me, but I have it broken down. There are some novel studies, there's science, there's social studies, there's math, there's art, there's music, there's PE. So there are lots of different ones there for you. Again, already created. All you got to do is click on it. And then again, I'm not sure why it's doing that, but the trip ideas by subject, and then the planning getting started guide. This one right here, what if I just click refresh? Just going to go through some points of what you need to do when you're doing it. You know, step 1, step 2, some things to think about as you're doing it to make it a little bit easier on you. Also, here are some more resources for you, how to get started. Here's your guide on how to use Google Arts and Culture, live streaming, usage rights, Wakelet, Google Tour Builder, just some little extra things that we included in there to make your journey and your creation a little bit easier and less time consuming for you. We've kind of worked out some of the kinks, so there you go. And we want to give a massive thanks to everyone who joined us. I know we had a bunch of people popping in and out. If you didn't get to see it, it will stay housed right here for as long as we can have it up. And then share it out with your friends. You know, if they tell them about it, even if they didn't sign up to go to LaCUE, give them the link. It's totally fine. They can have a link to the presentation and all of our resources. That's what we want to do. We want to help. We want to, you know, make sure that people are expanding what they're doing and trying new things. There are links here to our virtual trip Wakelet and our webinars. And I also do want to give another shout out to LaCUE and Miss Tammy Seneca, Dr. Tammy Seneca, for having us come and present for y'all today. And I hope that you have learned something. Don't forget to reach out and check in with us. You know, you can follow us on Twitter, email us with any questions. If you create something, share it with us. We would love to see what you're doing, you know, collaborate with us, whatever. But again, thanks so much for joining in. Amanda?
I want to say I really love it when people try creating their own tours for the first time and they send a screenshot and they tag me on Twitter. Mm-hmm. Like, I love that. Like, I love that so much to be able to see what they've created. And so feel free to, like Heather said, though, tag us, reach out to us, email us if you have any questions. We're here to help. And I also wanted to thank Dr. Seneca. She is amazing. And I wanted to thank her for inviting us, allowing us to speak, and for hosting this entire LaCUE Cares event.
Absolutely. All right. So we're going to go ahead and sign off. Does anybody have any last questions before we do? I don't think I see any more coming in. So if you come up with one that you think about, again, just reach out to us and we will help you. And thanks again for joining.